I'll give you 4 questions, and you have 2 minutes to answer each question. Question 1. Texas being a border state, as well as having thriving ports, as well as controlling outer space travel, as well as owning the largest biocontainment lab in the world, has some security issues. What are your plans to improve and maintain the security of the sovereign state of Texas and the United States?
Well, first of all, we must look at our border. It is very porous, and as a result of the nature of that border, we have all sort of bad influences coming in. We have drugs, we have illegal gangs, there is the possibility of bombs from a host of other countries and people from overseas, and we must secure that border. I think we should do it with boots on the ground. As a citizen taxpayer, I think that we should take some of the equipment that's coming back from Iraq that the citizens have already paid for, and instead of sending it to some warehouse in Nebraska or someplace, let's give it to the Border Patrol and to our armed forces that we should put down there. This is not a new idea. Sam Houston knew about this. Our forefathers here in Texas knew about this, about securing that border. There can be some fencing, there can be electronic surveillance and things of that nature to secure the border, but that's the first thing. And of course, we must, with regard to immigration, we must not continue to have the magnets coming in. We must also have security in our ports. We have an international border right here in Galveston County for every ship that comes in, and in Freeport and in Beaumont as well. So we must take special care. It's important that we may provide security for LNG ships that may come in, either importing or exporting liquefied natural gas, which could be very explosive. So, that is the foremost, protecting our borders is the foremost responsibility of the federal government. And it is the one thing that they are really failing in protecting our borders and in protecting our security. So this is my approach, and it is something that we need to consider not just along the border, which is our first line of attack, but at ports and at other facilities.
Question 2. Oil, black gold, Texas tea. Even Jed Clampett understood the power of oil and natural gas in today's society. Texas sits on some of the largest oil and gas reserves in the world. Our Gulf is dotted with thousands of oil rigs. Our refineries distill millions of gallons of gasoline and fuel. As Congressman from the 14th District of Texas, what energy policy will you support?
We must seek energy independence. It is a matter of national security as well as helping our economy. A couple of weeks ago, I was invited to appear with Senator John Cornyn and leaders from TransCanada, elected leaders, as well as all of the refinery managers in this area regarding the Keystone Pipeline and ways we can circumvent the President's order and move to get 700,000 barrels of crude to this congressional district every day. That is a matter of national security. It is also a matter of economic security for the citizens of this congressional district. So I can assure you, Judge, that I will be fighting for Keystone. We also have federal overreach when it comes to shale production, shale gases, and also the lack of new permits for offshore. You know, right off the coast of Galveston, we have some of the largest oil and gas deposits. We need to be drilling so that that oil and that gas can come in. Our refineries in the area need that shale gas. They need it as a form of low-cost fuel for their refineries, as well as a source of raw materials that they can use to make other products in their various product lines. So energy independence is of critical importance, and it includes drilling. It includes drilling offshore, and we must stop the EPA overreach and other regulations that are restricting our ability to drill, and we must get the Keystone Pipeline into this congressional district.
Question 3. The current president and the past Congress shoved a health care policy down our throats that is wasteful and unconstitutional. If elected, what specific steps will you take to not just undo this catastrophe, but to provide the world's best health care policy?
Well, I'm glad you asked. And Judge, I brought you something. It is hoping that Obamacare would be brought up. This is what Obamacare looks at. This comes from Congressman Kevin Brady, and it shows just a portion of the agencies that are being created under Obamacare. And if you'll notice, in the right-hand corner is your physician, and in the left-hand corner, very small, is the patient. Do you see what's going to come between you and your doctor? 111 agencies, $1 trillion. I believe that Obamacare is unconstitutional because government does not have the right to force you to buy insurance. But I believe if Obamacare is allowed to stand, there are no limits to what the federal government can do to you. Therefore, I will vote to repeal Obamacare, and hopefully we will be able to get enough votes. If the people will send enough conservative Republicans, such as myself, to Congress, we will be able to repeal Obamacare. Short of that, we must defund it. Now, there are other alternatives out there in the free market that can help us with medical costs and what have you. I think we need to be allowed to go across state lines to get insurance. We need to have the ability of small businesses to group together so that they can get better rates on their insurance. And I also think that we need to have health savings plans. So there's some other free market alternatives. I studied, got my MBA, studied economics with Dick Armey, a free market economist, was a financial analyst before my wife, Denise, put me through law school. But I'm always looking for free market alternatives to this. And I have some extra copies of this and be happy to share this with you after today's session.
Question 4. Economics deals with unlimited demand and limited supply. Our country's current handling of our government's budget does not reflect the understanding of a limited supply. CD14 has its share of special projects, also known as earmarks or pork. How will you balance the needs of your constituents against the need for a balanced budget?
Well, the $15 trillion debt is enormous. It's going to harm our children, it's going to harm our economy, and it's going to destabilize our currency. We must get a handle on spending. That's why I stand for a balanced budget amendment to the United States Constitution. In fact, on my webpage, you have the opportunity to sign that petition, and hundreds of you already have. I want to stand on the floor of the House of Representatives with your names and say, these citizens of Galveston County demand a balanced budget amendment to the United States Constitution. I simply do not trust Congress or any future Congress to restrain spending without it. As a regent for the Texas State University system, we had to comply with 15% budget cuts because of a balanced budget requirement in Texas. And we did it by prioritizing our mission and eliminating those programs that were no longer necessary. We also outsourced to private industry because we found that private industry can do things more efficiently than government. And we also used new technology to be more efficient. And we were able to do that, and we still have the third largest university system in Texas. We turned away no students. So we must insist, Congress must take the effort to look for fraud and waste in government, and we need to establish a sunset commission that has all agencies come before, as we do in Texas. Now, there are certain things in Galveston that are federal issues, such as the port, and that the Army Corps of Engineers has jurisdiction over that. And there are certain things that do require the federal government's involvement. Those must be supported. But I think it's just like anything. I'm going to view all decisions as a citizen taxpayer. And if it's something that, if an infrastructure nature that does allow businesses and individuals to create wealth, then we will be supportive. But if it's just a bridge to nowhere or some other construction for no reason, then I will not be in favor of it.
Thank you, Michael Truncale.
Thank you, Jay.